Isolation is not just about being physically separated or left out by others. It is the painful feeling of being disconnected from the world around you, even when you are surrounded by people. This sense of separation can happen anywhere in school, at work, within family, or among social groups, and it leaves a deep mark on your self-esteem and mental well-being. In school, isolation may appear as silent exclusion by peers or subtle bullying that goes unnoticed. At work, it often manifests as quiet exclusion, where you are left out of conversations or not given important information. Within families, emotional neglect, when your feelings are ignored or unheard, can cause an intense feeling of being abandoned even by the closest people. Socially, being ghosted or excluded from friend groups can make you feel invisible and unwanted. All these experiences share one painful core. They undermine your sense of belonging and self-worth, sometimes pushing you towards depression or prolonged withdrawal. 1. Causes: it's not just about others. The roots of isolation often reach far deeper than simply the actions or behaviors of other people around us. At a broader societal level, the way communities and cultures are structured can unintentionally or sometimes intentionally create divisions that alienate individuals. One major factor is what we can call a tribal mentality, a mindset where people strongly identify with their own group, beliefs, or values and view anyone outside of that group as the other, or even as a threat. This us versus them way of thinking closes the door to understanding and acceptance, and instead promotes suspicion, fear, and exclusion. When difference is perceived not as something valuable or enriching but as wrong or dangerous, people who don't fit into the dominant mold naturally find themselves pushed to the margins. This dynamic is visible everywhere, from schools to workplaces to social media platforms. Schools often become battlegrounds for social hierarchies where competition and peer pressure create toxic environments. Instead of encouraging empathy and collaboration, many educational settings foster rivalry and jealousy. Students who don't conform to popular trends or who struggle socially are at risk of being silently ignored or openly bullied. The same competitive spirit is amplified in workplaces, where the pressure to outperform colleagues can lead to exclusionary behaviors, withholding information, or subtle sabotage. Social media, meant to connect us, paradoxically magnifies these issues by giving a platform to comparison, envy, and superficial validation through likes and followers. The performative nature of online interactions often results in people feeling more isolated despite being connected 24/7. Another important societal trend fueling isolation is the rise of cancel culture. While accountability is important, this culture of swift judgment and public shaming creates an atmosphere where many people are afraid to express their true thoughts, try new things, or be vulnerable. Fear of making mistakes or being misunderstood leads to self-censorship, which ironically isolates individuals further because they cannot be fully authentic or open. Within families, which should be the foundation of support and belonging, emotional disconnection is surprisingly common. Many parents, due to their own unresolved issues or simply lack of emotional education, fail to truly connect with their children on a deep, empathetic level. This creates an invisible wall between parent and child, where the child feels misunderstood, unheard, or even invisible. Such emotional neglect doesn't have to be overt or intentional. Sometimes it is as simple as parents being too busy, distracted, or overwhelmed to notice their child's inner world. Moreover, parents who place unrealistic expectations on their children or constantly compare them to others, whether siblings, classmates, or societal ideals, often push their children further into retreat and self-doubt. The child learns that their true feelings or struggles are unacceptable, which encourage hiding and withdrawing as a survival mechanism. On an internal level, many people carry a heavy burden of self-doubt and low self-esteem. This lack of confidence makes it difficult to assert themselves, voice their opinions, or reveal their authentic selves. The natural response to this insecurity is often to shrink back, to avoid drawing attention. Unfortunately, this invisibility can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, as others simply don't notice or overlook those who don't make themselves heard. Adding to this challenge, people who have experienced past emotional wounds or trauma often build emotional defenses, walls that protect them from further harm, but also isolate them from meaningful connection. These walls may present as aloofness, irritability, or guardedness, which can be misunderstood by others as coldness or arrogance. Instead of inviting empathy, this reaction frequently deepens the cycle of isolation, making it harder for the person to find or build trusting relationships. In essence, isolation is never just about one simple cause. It is a complex web woven from societal pressures, family dynamics, and inner emotional struggles. Recognizing these layers is essential to understanding why people feel isolated and what needs to be done to support them on a deeper level. 2. Main argument. When you are isolated, you are not the problem. You are in a healing phase. From a healing perspective, feeling isolated does not equate to being worthless or flawed in any way. This is a crucial mindset shift that many people struggle to grasp because society often links belonging with value as if being included automatically means you matter, and being excluded means you do not. But in reality, isolation often signals something very different. It means you're simply in the wrong place or with the wrong people for who you truly are. It is not a reflection of your intrinsic worth, but rather an indication that your current environment does not nurture your spirit or align with your core values. This painful truth is something many people resist accepting because the human need to belong is so deeply ingrained. We want to be part of groups, families, teams, or communities, and rejection can feel like a personal failure. However, sometimes the reason you don't belong in a particular group is because their values, behaviors, or energy fundamentally clash with yours. Their way of thinking, communicating, or living may not resonate with who you really are or who you are meant to become. And that's not just okay, it is essential. Staying in a place that does not honor your authentic self often leads to more harm than good, causing emotional exhaustion, self-doubt, and gradual loss of identity. When you begin to understand this, the feeling of isolation takes on a different meaning. Rather than being a punishment or judgment on your character, it becomes a form of protection, a boundary your soul is setting to keep you safe from harm. It is your mind and heart's way of telling you, this environment is not right for you. It is an invitation to pause, reflect, and reevaluate where you are investing your time and emotional energy. Being loved in the right way, that is, by people who truly see, respect, and accept you allows you to see your own true worth. When you experience genuine connection and unconditional support, you no longer need to seek validation from toxic or incompatible environments. Love in its healthiest form acts like a mirror, reflecting back to you the value and beauty you sometimes cannot see in yourself. It nurtures your confidence and helps heal the wounds left by exclusion or rejection. Isolation, then, can serve as a powerful signal for growth and transformation. Instead of viewing it as a dead end or a failure, consider it a vital phase in your journey, one that calls you to step away from relationships or situations that diminish your spirit. This is the time to turn inward, to explore who you are beyond the labels, expectations, or judgments of others. It's an opportunity to reconnect with your own needs, desires, and dreams. Far from being a verdict on your worth as a person, isolation can be a gentle nudge towards self-discovery and healing. It gives you the space to rebuild your foundation on your own terms, cultivating resilience and self-love. Through this process, you can emerge stronger, clearer about your boundaries, and ready to seek out communities that truly nourish you. Ultimately, the feeling of being alone does not mean you are truly alone. It means you are preparing to find a place where you are seen and valued for exactly who you are. The journey through isolation is difficult, but it is also deeply meaningful because it leads you toward authenticity, healing, and the kind of belonging that feels real and sustaining. 3. Detailed solutions, steps to recovery and reconnection. A. Redefining your self-worth. The journey to healing from isolation begins with reclaiming your own sense of value. One of the most effective ways to start this process is by consciously shifting your focus from seeking approval from others to recognizing your own strengths and qualities. Every day, take a moment to write down at least 5 things you appreciate about yourself. These can be personality traits, skills, or even small achievements. This simple but powerful exercise helps retrain your brain to notice the positive within yourself instead of relying on external validation. which can be unreliable or conditional. Ask yourself deep, honest questions like, if no one else recognizes my worth, could I still honor and believe in it? This question challenges the ingrained habit of allowing others' opinions to define your identity. Over time, you begin to understand that your worth is inherent. It exists independently of social acceptance or rejection. You don't need to be liked or approved of by everyone to be valuable. This shift is fundamental because it builds resilience, helping you stand firm even when you feel excluded or misunderstood. It also encourages self-compassion, the cornerstone of emotional healing. B. Finding a more suitable environment. Isolation often signals that your current social environment does not align with who you truly are. To counter this, actively seek out communities where your values, interests, and energy feel welcomed and shared. This might mean joining online study groups if you're a learner, attending workshops or classes to develop new skills, or engaging with clubs and organizations that celebrate your passions. The key is to find spaces where you feel seen and where your authentic self is appreciated. Sometimes it's not about the size of a group, but the quality of connection. Consider building a small circle of 2 to 3 trusted individuals with whom you can share books, ideas, and personal experiences regularly weekly. Meets or virtual calls can foster deep bonds and provide consistent emotional support. Small, intentional communities like this can act as a healing sanctuary, gradually rebuilding your confidence in social interaction and counteracting feelings of loneliness. These environments become the fertile ground for growth, where you can nurture your sense of belonging safely and comfortably. C. Setting boundaries and learning gentle resistance. One common trap for those who feel isolated is trying too hard to win the love or approval of people who do not respect or value them. This often leads to emotional exhaustion and further rejection. Learning to set clear, healthy boundaries is essential in protecting your mental and emotional well-being. Boundaries mean knowing when to say no without guilt and standing firm when treated unfairly. This doesn't require confrontation or aggression. It's about gentle but firm resistance. For example, you can politely decline invitations or conversations that drain you or calmly express discomfort when someone crosses your limits. Developing this skill takes practice, but is vital for reclaiming your dignity and self-respect. When you consistently honor your boundaries, you send a message to yourself and others that you deserve to be treated with kindness and fairness. This not only protects you from further harm, but also helps you cultivate relationships based on mutual respect rather than desperation for acceptance. D. Healing emotions at the root. True healing comes from addressing your feelings and experiences at their core, rather than suppressing or ignoring them. Keeping a journal dedicated to your emotions related to isolation can be incredibly therapeutic. Write without judgment or censorship, simply observe and acknowledge what you feel. This process increases emotional awareness, allowing you to understand patterns and triggers behind your loneliness or disconnection. In addition to journaling, incorporating mindfulness practices such as meditation and deep breathing exercises can significantly ease the intense feelings of stress and alienation. These practices calm the nervous system and create a centered inner space where negative emotions lose their grip. Meditation helps you become more present and less overwhelmed by past pain or future anxieties. Over time, these habits build emotional resilience, making you less vulnerable to external negativity and more capable of self-soothing during difficult moments. Healing emotions at their root empowers you to transform isolation from a source of pain into a phase of growth. E. Seeking professional help if needed. While self-help strategies can be powerful, sometimes the isolation you experience is connected to deeper, unresolved trauma that requires professional support. If feelings of loneliness and exclusion persist or severely impact your daily life, consider reaching out to a therapist or counselor. Seeking therapy is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is an act of courage and self-respect. Mental health professionals are trained to guide you through the complex emotions surrounding isolation. They can help you unpack painful experiences, challenge negative thought patterns, and develop healthy coping mechanisms tailored to your needs. Therapy provides a safe, confidential space where you can explore your feelings without fear of judgment. It can accelerate your healing journey, giving you tools to rebuild your self-esteem and create meaningful connections. Remember, asking for help when you need it is a brave step toward reclaiming your life and well-being, not something to be ashamed of. 4. Expanding perspectives. Don't be an enabler of isolation. For friends, if you notice someone in your group feeling left out or withdrawn, a simple check-in or question can make a huge difference. Sometimes just knowing someone cares can lift a person from their darkest moments. Don't stay silent when you witness exclusion. Silence often means complicity in the pain. For parents, make it clear to your children that they can say anything to you without fear of punishment or judgment. Emotional safety at home is the foundation for children to grow confident and open. Avoid imposing rigid expectations or idealized images of who they should be. Each child is a unique individual worthy of acceptance. For society, cultures of blame, retaliation, and harsh judgment only push people into isolation. We all share responsibility for creating safe spaces where diversity and differences are honored. By fostering empathy and open-mindedness, we help prevent the social alienation many experience today. 5. Conclusion. Reaffirming the message. No one is born to live in isolation forever. Human beings are inherently social creatures, wired to seek connection, belonging, and understanding. While moments of solitude can sometimes be peaceful and necessary, prolonged isolation is rarely a natural or healthy state. It is often a sign and urgent invitation from your inner self to pause, reflect, and begin the journey back to wholeness. Isolation is not a punishment or a sentence. Rather, it is a signal that something within your life or environment needs attention. It calls you to reconnect with yourself first, to heal old wounds that may have been hidden beneath layers of pain or defense, and to rediscover your true identity beyond external expectations and judgments. This process of reconnecting with yourself means taking time to listen deeply to your feelings, acknowledging your experiences without shame or denial, and embracing all parts of who you are, including your imperfections and vulnerabilities. You don't have to be perfect to deserve kindness or love. In fact, your humanity, your unique combination of strengths and flaws, is precisely why you deserve to be seen and heard. Loving yourself fully, with compassion and acceptance, lays the foundation for building genuine connections with others. It allows you to attract and recognize people who honor your true self, rather than those who expect you to fit into a mold or suppress your authenticity. Finding your true tribe is a vital part of this healing journey. True community isn't about fitting in by changing who you are. It's about finding spaces and relationships where your values, beliefs, and personality are respected and cherished. This can take time and courage, especially after experiences of rejection or betrayal. But remember that you are not alone. Many have walked this path from isolation toward connection and have found profound joy, meaning, and support on the other side. Each small step you take, whether it's reaching out to a new group, expressing your feelings honestly, or setting boundaries that protect your well-being, is a powerful act of reclaiming your right to belong. Healing is possible, and it is your birthright. You have the strength within you to move beyond isolation, to rebuild your life with relationships that nurture your soul and environments that encourage your growth. The journey may have its challenges, but every effort you make toward connection is a victory for your spirit. Never forget that you are worthy of love and acceptance, not because you have achieved perfection, but because you are a beautifully imperfect human being with a story that matters. Your presence enriches the world simply by being you, and the right people will see and cherish that truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.